evening. MicahMan is live here this evening, and I've got a new project that I am working on, branching out a little bit from the typical farming projects that I'm doing. Tonight, I'll be cutting in our basement. You can see behind me, I did a little bit the other night, and I was just kind of guessing at how to do it. So tonight, I did a little bit of research and tried to find a few tips online on how to do those cut-ins. So we'll see how that works. There's obviously a lot of opinions out there on how to do cut-in for painting. I did try this old house trick to wet my paintbrush a little bit to help that paint evenly spread over the bristles. Not sure if that's gonna work, but we're gonna give it a whirl. And I've got my paint right here. So this is a new basement that we've finished. I've been working on finishing, put new flooring in last week, put the new lights in. So we're looking forward to getting this completed. This is my paint can here. Got this popped open. All right. This color is Relish. It's kind of a cool green color, maybe a little bit brighter than I was expecting, but we're gonna see how it turns out. Hopefully it's what my wife likes. She's the ultimate decider on some of these colors. So this is the color of the paint. First, I'm just gonna clean this lid off. Maybe I don't need to do that, but I just feel like I should. So cleaning off that lid. Before I get any further, we're gonna get this pulled off, get this edging pulled off. I think I'm gonna be putting new trim on the wall, so might as well get this popped off. We redid this basement room, and the previous owner had not taken care of this room. Had let the dog urinate all over the floor. It was pretty disgusting. The feces on the floor had been there probably for a year or 2 years, and it was just absolutely disgusting. So we had to wash the floor, clean the floor. We put Kills on the floor to get the smell out. We had to tear out the bottom. We had to tear out the bottom 2 feet of drywall, replace the drywall along the bottom 2 feet because the urine had soaked up the wall. So now I'm working on repainting it, try to give it a new look. So feel free to give any suggestions along the way. We are going to get a move on here. This is my makeshift drop cloth right there. You can see I didn't feel like repainting or washing out the floor if I do happen to spill a few drips on that, but that's what we're gonna do. So, if you have any suggestions on how to paint, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. We're gonna finish this off here. All right, let's see how this goes. Now you're supposed to dip it in there and get it fully soaked. Now I don't have a paint bucket. I should have a paint can, not a paint can, a paint holder, but I don't, so hopefully I've got enough in there. We'll see how this goes. Getting my strip of paint there so I can cut it in well. Want to make sure you have enough in there now. Oop, already made a little mistake. If you hold your breath, you're supposed to cut a better line in. feel like I need a new brush already. All right, that's a start. A little more paint on that brush. If you want to leave any suggestions or comments below, feel free to. I'll take a peek in a little bit. Just want to be generous right here. I'll go back in and get my lines straight. Alright, now we're going to go back and cut that edge in. That was much better. With that extra paint there, yeah, it's pretty close. Pretty good for a beginner. Alright, now I'm just going to go back and even out. I don't want any extra. Alright. Hello, Ian and Casey. I know I've got quite a bit of paint to do in this room. Hey, Madison. Glad you can tune in. Yeah, I've got a lot to paint here. I realized I don't have a roller, so I'm going to try to cut everything in tonight and then get a new roller. My other roller is full of white paint. I'll got the ceiling painted at least before we got the new floor in, so right here is the new floor. So that was a blessing, but now I just got to get the cutting done here. Yeah, I have a lot to do yet. So, but it's coming together. Not too bad, not too shabby. Felt like I was not using my time the best earlier this evening. So I had to get to work here. You don't want too much. I'm not the expert, that's for sure. But they say you don't want extra paint on the outside edges. Have plenty of paint on the inside of those bristles. But you need a little more paint on that. Still see quite a bit of paint there, so I'm just getting that extra. Now I'm going to cut in a little closer. Ooh. Can see a little drip coming down there. I noticed the top side of it. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, I'm just not understanding it, but the one side of this paintbrush does a much better job of cutting in. This side is not doing the greatest. I find if I have my hand to the guide running along the top of the ceiling, it helps me get it straight to cut in. Too lazy to put tape on, and if you're a professional, you don't need tape. Definitely not a professional, but we'll like the things that I'm getting there. It's hard to see where the corner is on this. Alright. Not too shabby. Maybe not the best in the world, but Not too bad, not too bad. All right. Do not want to have to do a second layer, that's for sure. Now, yeah, I know there's a little bit too much paint on here, but that's all right. We'll make it work. Cheyenne, good to hear from you. And Legend Angel Rider, hello. All right, let's get this carpet down a little bit more. Just to make sure I don't, if I don't, I'm gonna drip. So maybe this way I won't drip. All right, let's get rolling. This is not always definitely put more paint in there. All right, got a nice clean slate here. Don't know if you can see this or not. I feel like I didn't have quite enough paint on this strip, so I'm going over it again. Now let's see if we can do a nice cut in. I know it's a little bit awkward. Gonna get a little higher right there. There we go. Whoop. Going pretty smoothly there. Not too bad. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. This figured since my wife has to work this evening, this would be a great evening to get this painted. Maybe, well, at least part of it painted. At least getting cut-ins done. People make it look so easy online. Ooh, a little bit too aggressive there. Yeah, a little touch up here and there. You can see over here, a few touch-ups. Ooh, maybe a little too generous right there. All right. Now we've got this corner here. We'll see how this goes. Barbara, thank you. I am new here on your stream. Thank you very much, Legend. Trying to put out some more good content, but fact is, sometimes life is so busy that you just gotta focus on what's most important. Sometimes making videos isn't the most important thing. But I do try. Alright, now we're gonna fold these. We've got these handy dandy carpet squares that I'm using to help protect the floor, just in case they're just junk ones that the renter left here. So we've got some carpet squares that we're putting down, protect the new floor. I don't do it, you know there's going to be paint dropped on there. So, alright. Get some more paint on here. What are the tricks for the corners to get the corners right? Do you guys have any tips? There's always people who know more of what I'm doing than I do on the stream, so I figured, hey, let's just ask. Maybe some of you know how to do corners more effectively than I do. Oh, wow, that was a little too generous right there. Alright, let's see. I need just a little bit more. Alright, we're just about ready. Let's cut this in here now. Fan it up. Almost to a right spot. Once you find that spot. Gotta cut in that straight line, where sometimes it's hard to. Then you gotta be careful coming to this corner that I don't flick the brushes and sprinkle it on the ceiling. Gotta get a little more paint on my brush because I'm pulling it off the wall and I don't want to do that. Get this little corner up here. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race in these tight spots. All right. Mermaid Muncher, hello. Narang, don't be scared to cut the ceiling. Suck, yeah, hey, that's all right, I don't care. Hold your brush at about a 33-degree angle and use only the tips of about 5 bristles. All right, I'm not sure if I can count that. But hey, I'm all for trying new things. I hope I don't tip this whole bucket of paint over. That would be horrible. All right, this is what we're gonna do. Just so y'all can get a better view of what I'm doing. This could be a bad idea. Who knows? Get the bird's eye view. There we go. That way you guys can see even better how to critique me. Please send your critiques in. This is one area that I am not an expert in. All right, let's see here. Get this square off the flooring man left his square. All right, so this is the area we're working on right now. Let's see. All right. Let's cut this in. Probably let that paint dry a little bit too much on the wall. paint up there. Let's get a little more paint on the wall. Probably let it dry too much. All right, let's get back over here. Sure, I've had some critiques here. All right, let's pull this down a little more. First trick, do not buy cheap. Hey, I didn't buy a cheap brush. Sash brush, I don't know what kind of brush I have. Yeah, well, this is supposed to, it's a zebra brush, which are supposed to be good brushes. Maybe Zebra kind of sponsor my channel and give me some better brushes than what I have. They do not seem to be cutting in the greatest right now. That's also because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, let's do one more cut along this upper wall. Sometimes it's hard to see what's going on right at the tip. Alright. I feel like I'm running out of paint here on my brush, so, throw some on down here. Yeah, it'd be nice to work on one wall at a time. I saw someone make that comment, but I'm just cutting it in right now. I can't do one wall. I'm doing the whole ceiling. Doing one thing, one task, which is cutting in the ceiling. Then I'll do one wall at a time when I start rolling it all. But I do appreciate the suggestion. And thanks for tuning in for all those who are watching live. I really do appreciate that. Not sure how y'all first heard about my channel. Probably when I was baling hay or something. It's getting a little too dry up here, so I gotta put some more paint on the wall. Don't want to, ooh, that was almost a close one. I feel like I'm pressing too hard on the wall. When you're taking paint away, you don't have enough paint on the wall, or on your brush, I should say. Ooh, a little bit too close to the ceiling. I might have some areas over here that I will be fixing up. Alright, ooh. Let's give a little more paint on there. I know some professionals are going to start, well, maybe some professionals are watching right now. Okay. You guys can evaluate that while I move my paint patrol pads. We're going to get this side of the wall done now. Yeah, I know there's issues with that, but that's life. You guys can evaluate that a little closer. Let me know what you think. Hey, that'd be awesome if you could help me mark. I'd appreciate that. Look. Whoa, wow. Sorry about that, folks. Not to be a backstage driver, but you need to learn to cut in properly. Hey, I know I do. That's why you guys are here, to help me out. Well, I already cut in the ceiling, but I will have to wow. Yeah, that does... that is pretty hideous, I would say. Yikes. Well, obviously I'm gonna paint from there down, folks. That, that line looks as smooth as the ocean. It sure does, folks. It sure does. Hey, let's see if I can make this wall any better. I feel like I'm gonna have to make a second coat anyway because... Alright, how about tip mine? Alright, we're gonna try and get this a little bit better here, folks. Let's see what happens. Alright, so... It is looking pretty hideous. I know. So is life. That's life sometimes. Let's see. The part of the problem is that this wall, some of you are saying the lines, it looks as smooth as the ocean. I agree, it does. But if you looked at the ceiling, this ceiling is not level. This house was built in, I don't know, 1970? 1960s, I mean, and the guy who constructed it, I don't think used the best craftsmanship, to be honest. But I'm gonna try to get this a little bit smoother. So let's get this in one fell swoop. All right, we'll work on this here. See if we can get this. Need a little more paint. I could just hire this out, but I don't have money for that, so gotta do it. Okay, let's see. I need my sister to come out here. Emily, if you're watching, you need to get over here tomorrow or something to help me out. This is pretty bad, I feel like. All right, now let's see if I can push this up. Hey, that line was pretty good. Let's see if I can do it again. Hey, does that look any better, folks? Now, right here, you're probably wondering what is going on there. Well, partially that's not my fault. The ceiling literally dips right there. But we'll see if I can cut that in a little better. All right. Let's see what you folks are saying now. Moving too slow. You want pistachio ice cream? Not yet. Hey, I'm glad you let the brush work. Merry Christmas, Loane Tobias Speebles. I have no idea. Pistachio ice cream. Hey, that doesn't sound too bad. I don't really like pistachio that much, but I mean, hey, if that suits your fancy. All right, we're gonna try to let the brush work this time. Let's see if I can I like that suggestion. Work smarter, not harder. And I feel like I've been working a little too hard lately on this wall, so let's see if we can let the brush do the work. So I always like practical tips like that. I do landscaping, and now someone left a nail in this wall and I'm not sure why it's there. And I don't want to find out by pulling it out and then have a bigger mess to deal with. So we're gonna leave that there. I'm gonna see if we can. Okay. Let's get this corner here is a bit of a pain with that nail or piece of metal in the wall. All right, let's let the brush do the work. Oh. A little bit too much work in there. All right, folks, we're gonna move this down and around. Actually, we will do it right here. We might have to redo some of this, but that's okay for you. All right, now the problem with doing this is now you guys are gonna see exactly what I'm doing wrong. That's right, it's good to expose yourself sometimes to how you can get better and improve in life. How do you cut in next to a corner? That's a bit of a pain there. I'm trying without getting the ceiling. Okay. I think I basically got that. So let's cut in back here. Now I know that line is not even. We're going to work on that right now. We're gonna have to work on that ceiling a little bit, I think. But hey, at least I'm getting the project done. That's half the battle right there. There we go. Just want to get all those. I don't want it to look like I was painting here, so I gotta pull off that extra paint there. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying now. More paint, you're better off going a little bit under the ceiling if you have to. You won't see it as much standing across. Hey, that's actually a good point. I like that. I like that observation there, Miss Mermaid, or whatever your name is. I'm sorry, I don't know for sure. Just want to get this corner a little better because it's really just odd. I don't know. I do like that point though. It's better to be a little bit on the ceiling than to see across the room the paint splotches you missed. Good observation. Hey, this cutting will be easy. I'm gonna do the corners last because that's easiest. We're gonna work on the window now. Let's see if we can get that window. Any suggestions for the window? Whoop. Let's see. You've painted since 1985. Whew. I did a painting project in 2015 with a painter, but I haven't done much painting since then, to be honest. Just around the farm type painting. I get this window done here. Hopefully this will work. Wow, it's much easier. Oh wow, that was close. All right, let's see if I can. This might not be quite thick enough here. I have a little extra. All right. The pro painters on YouTube always make it look a little easier than it really is. Ooh. I hit the wood, that's all right. Get a little too much paint on right there. I actually might be taking this trim off. So I'm trying to be careful, but I might actually be putting different trim up. So this actually doesn't matter quite as much. All right. Not too shabby. Yeah, I'm trying to, tape around the frame would maybe be easier, but you also then have the risk of pulling paint off, I think. So, hey, not as bad. I feel like I like this wall better than that. Wow. You know what? I think I just forgot to, I think I might have forgotten to cut that in. Well, we'll have to come back through and get that fixed up right there. All right, let's go to this side. Actually, we'll do right here, underneath the window. Yeah, I know I should have a little small, oh boy, do not want to mess that up. I know I should have a small paint bucket to be dipping my brush in, but I don't have it, so. All right. Let's see what we got here. Get this painting done. I'll fill up my brush. You guys didn't see that. All right. Looks like whoever painted this underneath here Already painted the trim, don't need to worry about that. I already messed up. Almost there. It's kind of just going in a all right, we're done right there. It's a blessing. I will move the carpets, keep moving on. Bear with me as I get things set back up. All right, got this taken care of. And we'll leave it there, I guess. All right, we got to finish up this wall right here. Use only the longest tips of your brush. Keep dipping the brush. I am slow at cutting. You want to come help me? I'm taking suggestions and I'm taking help. Woo. And help holding the camera. Okay. Don't laugh at this, folks. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, actually, please laugh at it. That would make things a lot more entertaining in life. Gotta be willing to laugh at yourself a little bit. Laugh and learn at the same time. All right. So, gonna get some paint on my brush here. Get the excess off. Now, I know there's holes there, but hopefully the paint will seal it off. It might be the lazy way of doing it, but that's the way I'm doing it. Oh, now I gotta spin this in somehow. Put a little more on my brush. Yes, I know I'm slow. It's alright though. Beginners are always slow at things. Alright, let's see here. Get this corner in while I have a little bit more subtle on my brush. A couple holes up here we might have to mud in actually. Or the curtains will come right, we'll see. Alright. Put a little more paint on that brush. Oh. You guys probably want to see what I'm doing over here. Just trying to get it nice and even, to be honest. A a little too much right there. Oop. Yeah, this edging is not the easiest. One thing I'm learning is it's not bad to reset your hand. All right. I'll come back into that lower spot. I feel like I'm dragging too much. Need more paint on my brush. Oh, it's a motivation to keep moving when you know you have people watching and critiquing. So please keep the critiques coming. I'm all for that. Oh, a little bit too much on this here. I just got some on my hand. First time for everything. There we go. All right, folks, what do you think so far? Please let me know. You always bring a rag with you. Yeah, like that. Pushing too hard. Use just the tips of the bristles. That's the key. Keep brush, but you won't have to drag back. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get paint on my hand. Just wiping it off. Thankfully, I brought a rag down here to wipe it off. Appreciate all your suggestions here. Hopefully this camera doesn't fall off again. Let's move this camera down a little bit without tipping the whole everything over. You guys are really gonna get a close up here. Okay, I'm just gonna finish this corner over here. And then, all right. I think I have plenty of paint on the brush, probably too much, to be honest. See if I can get that. Sorry to block your view. Just trying to get that corner in there. There we go. Do you see what you mean about getting that ceiling though? Whoever made that comment. Good comment to make. From a distance, it doesn't look like you painted it all the way if you don't get all the way up to the ceiling. Hope I don't have to do a second coat on this, to be honest. You can't have too much paint. Well, I feel like you can have too much paint on your brush, but maybe not. Let me know what you think. I feel like it's dripping off your paintbrush. You probably have too much paint on. Almost hit the ceiling there big time. Just going back and forth to get the holes filled. There we go. Alright, let's get this cut in now. A little pink on the brush. Let's see here, let's back up. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Yeah. Well, thanks for the encouragement. Second coat is needed. Well, it probably is needed, to be honest. That's alright though. I'm game. Just do it a different day, of course. Alright. Probably will need a second coat, unfortunately. This might help you guys see a little bit better. Flat. I'm sorry, but at this rate you will be for a while. Hey, no apologies needed. No apologies needed. I'm definitely going to be here for a while. I'm really going to get the critiques now that you're even closer to the action. Ooh, a little too much wetness there, if you like. I'm going slow because I have to. I feel like I'm hitting the ceiling too much, but maybe that's a good thing. Okay, yeah, no, it's going to take me away now. I think I'll just have to get a second coat. There we go, that'll work. I'm trying. Let's see if we can do this a little bit better. The end is in sight, at least for the first coat, to be honest. So that's an encouragement. Him, I can't get right up there. Yeah, a little bit better. Okay, let's get this moved a little bit. Some of this junk is in the way. Getting a few things moved here, folks. just pause with me. I'll read your critiques in a second. Actually, I'll keep it right here. Alright. So, we've got a lot done here so far. That's the work we've completed so far. I do got to do this window yet. Yes, a little more of an angle using just tips would have been perfect. Well, I feel like maybe I should get another brush because I don't know if this brush is the best brush to use in the world. They said it's good. My sister did. She's done a lot of painting. To be honest though, who's going to be inspecting every nook and cranny? Not a lot of people. Most people are going to just look at the general scope of things. Alright, wish I had a step that was about 3 inches taller. The next step up is just too much for me. I feel like you have to make sure there's enough paint on the brush even after you put some up there. Just a little bit too much on the ceiling, but that is that. The area way down here that I need to fix. Way down here. So there you go. Couple. Actually, this paint bucket's perfect. I did this a couple nights ago. Glad I'm not a painter. I mean, maybe once I get better at it, it'll be easier. But man, it is a lot of work. A new appreciation for painters. So I gotta have good painters because bad painters make big mistakes. Let's get these windows done here. Let's get these windows done. Let's take a look at what people are saying though first. Longer, softer strokes. That was a nice stroke. Well, thank you very much. Badger Life, yuck. Color needs to be more white. Opinions are like noses. Everybody has them. You can see that it is a little bit darker. That's a couple days ago paint. And you can see the lighter. So it is a... Anyway, all right, let's get this painted before my battery runs out on my phone. It's time for bed. Where are y'all tuning in from? Just curious. Be curious to hear what states or countries y'all are tuning in from. Wow, I'm gonna have to get up one more step here. Okay, I just heard someone knock on the wall. That was a little creepy. More paint. I'm kind of cheating up here. Just doing one coat. cheating a little bit up here, just because who's gonna be looking right above this? The only person who's gonna be seeing it is me. Furnace is kicking in. Thankfully, it's not been too cold here in Wisconsin the last couple days. December was terrible though, temperature-wise. I mean, snow was nice. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to do another coat. Alright. High-end house painter. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. San Francisco, Texas. We're coming. My sister lives in San Francisco. Alright. What we're doing here is backing up just a little bit. So I'm not right with the face. See if I can get those holes covered in. There are some holes of curtain rods or something. So I'm just filling in that hole. There we go. Do you guys ever do cut in just right along the edge in one stroke, or do you guys give yourself something to work with and then cut it in closer? I feel like there's too much risk, just like this. I put a little too much on the edge, and then it puddles up on the wood. Although who knows, when I redo the trim, I might have ripping this down, but I don't know how long I'll have it up or when I'll get to that, so I don't want it to look ugly. Ooh, that was nice and easy. Oh man, it does make a difference when you let the brush work. All right. Whoop. Oop, that was an accident. It's like that trim has been painted once or twice anyway. A little too much paint there, so I gotta kind of transfer it somewhere else. Oops. I think I do need a new brush. It might be something I pick up tomorrow. Yeah, you can see this trim needs some help. It is a little dusty there too. Yeah, I don't blame him both, but just trust the Lord whenever creepy things happen. All right. Ooh, right on the corner there. Of course. This is the junky trim anyway, so not as concerned, but still. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Do appreciate the suggestions, taking the time to comment. Don't feel like you have to stick around, but I do appreciate it and all your help that you provided. Or at least maybe some people wasn't so helpful, but it's all right. Get a bird's eye view here. Whoop. Guess you guys can't even see anything what I'm doing. There we go. See that drip? I just did not want that drip. Okay, here we go. Is that about right? Is that about right? I hope it is. Hope it is. We'll be moving over to this side of the room here, that window shortly. Folks, for those who are just feather the outside line. Yes, I will do that. I will do that. I did not do that yet. I will feather it in, just getting that. All right, let's see. Make sure I don't leave any extra bubbles there. That's a big rookie mistake, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. Hey, not the best in the world, but also not the worst in the world. Definitely gonna need a second coat up here. All right, now we're gonna move to this side. Let's get this window done. This keeps loosening up on me for some reason. I don't know why that does that. Probably because it's not tight in the back here. All right, so for those who are still with me, I'm gonna to get this last section, last window painted. Trying to get everything adjusted here on the platform. And we're gonna, looks good. Worcester is a good brush also. Make sure before you wet the roller before applying paint. Make sure you get microfiber of lamp. I'm gonna take a screenshot of that just in case I lose these comments. Party brushes pick up and release paint better. Yeah, I don't know how much this brush costs. I don't think it was like the cheapest in the world. It's a zebra. What do you guys think about zebra brushes? No idea. Those are good or bad in your opinion. Whoa. That's some paint on that. Let me raise this up so you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright. I do have a couple friends that maybe would have been willing to help me, but you don't want to ruin their welcome, you know what I mean? People can do kind things, but you just don't want to take advantage of that. It's hard to get down on those top edges of that trim. But hey, it's good practice. There we go. Basically done. Tell where I did not have enough paint on my brush up there. Alright, let's cut this in. Not cut it in, but put that paint on there. I'll do that side last so you guys can take a peek. Evaluate. Alright, see if I can get this done here quickly without working too hard. Do it nice and easy. Is this brush too big for this type of work? Is it too small? What do you guys recommend? Alright, actually we'll do the bottom last. We'll do this side next. Alright. Also don't want to block everyone's view. Thank you. Practice does make perfect. I'll be live next. Well, I'm not sure if I'll be painting this live, but hoping to do some work on the farm to show you. Things can happen, Dave. Thank you very much, Mr. Dave. Glad you're able to tune in. No one will see a boo-boo on top of the trim, but always best not to hit it. Yes, I totally agree with that. I try to do clean lines without tape. Wish I could be better at it, but let me fix this. Hold on. Don't want to block you guys. Hi. So we're gonna. Things can happen, Dave. Are you still out of trouble over there? Hope you are. All right, let's see if we can. This was not on my bucket list to do this evening. Live streaming. But hey, all right. Give me your best evaluation when I do this, folks. Honesty. That's what I want. Honesty from the opinionators out there. As long as you know what you're talking about, even if you don't know what you're talking about, please tell me. All right. So, get a little more on my brush. I feel like it wasn't filled up. All right, let's see if we can get this. Okay, a little too much on me right there. Gotta remember not to work so hard. Let the brush do the work. Get a little more paint on there. All right, here we go. I feel like that was the best shot so far. Not that it was perfect, but best shot so far. All right, let's get you down here. Maybe this is dangerous not having carpet tiles underneath there, but so we're gonna get this bottom trim. Mini Mountain, you're in Wisconsin, awesome. I am too. We have a great farm here, my parents do. It's really how our channel got kicked off is through that. we've got that done pretty good. Not too shabby. All right. Now, what are your all's recommendation on washing this? I just rinse it in water real well, get it taken care of that way. Just curious as to your opinions on that. I like how you're using the far most tips of bristles. Good. I'm trying to get the hang of that. Soap and water, getting better already. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, let's see here. Well, thank you all for your comments and thoughts. This is the finished product. I'll have to obviously do another coat here, but let's do a walkthrough. This is what I did last week. Yep, you can see right there, it's a little bit low, so we'll have to fix that as I come through next week, or not next week, probably tomorrow or something right there. Needs some touch up. I'll probably touch that up tonight yet. Even right there, you can see a little bit of lax there. But hey, you gotta start somewhere. Right there, it looks like I can see visibly it needs paint up higher towards the ceiling. I feel like the around the windows is getting better. It's getting there. This side I felt like went pretty well. So anyway, I think when I first started off I was going pretty heavy, which is pretty good. Then I got a little gun shy and I did a little less, but I feel like it's getting better. So be sure to get all the paint off. Should have clean water coming out of brush. Yes, I have cleaned paintbrushes before and I'll keep that in mind. I guess I didn't use soap last time, so that's a good idea. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. You all have a great rest of your evening. God bless, and remember Matthew 1:21, I believe it is. They were talking about the birth of Jesus Christ. His name was to be called Jesus, for he should save his people from their sin. And the reason Christ came at Christmas, the reason Christ came to this earth, God sent his son is so that we all could be set free from our sin and given eternal life. And he came down from heaven to give us all new life. And don't forget, the reason that we all can have salvation is through Jesus Christ. And if you put your faith and trust in him, repent of your sin, turn to Christ, he will save you and give you new life. So that's the best thing ever. If you don't know Jesus Christ, turn to him tonight and receive eternal life, and you'll have a weight lifted off your shoulders, and you're having eternal life in heaven. So take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next video.